In this lesson, we're going to be talking about integer subtraction. Just like in our integer addition lesson, we talked about this idea of a number line. So we're going to be using this same number line to answer these 8 questions. All right, let's look at the first one. 8 minus 3. Now, we're going to go ahead and use the number line here, and we're going to use it the same way we did before. I'm going to start by putting my dot on the number that's first in our equation here. So I'm going to put a little dot over the 8. 8 minus 3. Now, the minus sign is telling you which direction you're moving on the number line, which is always going to be to the left. And then the number that's next to that number is going to tell you how many spaces you're going to move. So in our case, we're going to be moving 3 spaces to the left. So I'll indicate that up here with my little loops, 1, 2, 3, leading me to positive 5 as my answer. Let's try another one. In this second one, I actually begin on the negative side of the number line. So negative 5 minus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dot on that first number, negative 5. And I'm going to move to the left direction indicated by my minus sign, and I'm going to move 5 spaces. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces, getting me down to negative 10. So you can see that we're going to be doing the same type of movements as our addition problems. The only thing that's changing is the direction of our movement. Okay, the third one, 4 minus 7. All right, let's go ahead and indicate that first number up on our number line, which is positive 4. I'm going to be moving to the left direction 7 units. So I'm going to move down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bringing me down to my answer of negative 3. All right, I do want to bring up a common little tool that you can use to help you, and it's that reference point of 0, and we discussed this in our integer addition video. So let's go ahead and start at that number 4 again. We're doing that same example, and I'm going to see how many spaces it takes me to get to the origin. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Now, I only have 7 spaces to move, and I've already used 4 of them. So how many do I have left? And you're probably thinking 3, but 3, of course, in the negative direction. So that's another way to use this as a little tool to help you, is just to kind of think about your space movement on the number line. The next problem says 6 minus 10. So I'm going to start by putting a dot on my 6, and I'm going to subtract or move to the left 10 spaces. So let's go ahead and use that reference point. Let's move down to 0. I can only move 10 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I've moved 6, how many more do I have left? And you're probably thinking negative 4, which is my answer. All right, how about another one? Sorry, I jumped down there. Let's go back up to this other one. I wanted to kind of show you that reference point. 4 minus negative 6. I'm over on the right-hand side now. 4 minus negative 6. This is a really unique situation. Anytime that you see a negative and a negative next to each other, split in half by this parenthesis, I want you to do this. I want you to connect your 2 subtraction symbols and then put a little line through it, making it an addition problem. The rule is, anytime that you subtract a negative, what you're actually doing is adding. So I'm going to go ahead and indicate that by adding. So let's go ahead and mark our little dot on our positive 4, and we're going to add 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bringing us up to positive 10. Let's do another one just like that, the one right below it. Negative 2 minus negative 8. All right, so let's, the first thing we notice here is that we have a negative and a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it and make it a positive. So now my question is negative 2 plus 8. So negative 2 on my number line, and I'm going to add 8. So if I add 2 spaces, all I have left is 6 spaces, so leading me to positive 6. All right, let's try another one here. Negative 2 minus 5. These ones are my favorite ones. I'm going to start by putting my little dot on my first number, and I'm going to move to the left 5 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice how I did not cross my reference point of 0. And the reason was I'm starting in the negative and I'm subtracting, meaning I'm moving more in the negative direction. So when you have a situation that looks like this, your number is going to be more negative than either of the two numbers that you started with. All right, and our last example is going to be a similar one to the ones above, -6 minus -3. A negative negative gives us a positive. So you're really changing your subtraction problem into an addition problem. So on my number line, -6 plus 3. 1, 2, 3. Giving me -3. Okay, so that's how you do integer subtraction on your number line. Now, we're going to use all those concepts to see if we can figure out these more challenging problems. And the reason I say that they're more challenging is because the numbers are just slightly bigger. And that's okay. All right, let's do the first one here. Think about the number line as you do this problem. And if you'd like, feel free to even use a number line. This is also a great time to pause the video and try some of these on your own, and then we'll go over them together. All right, 12 minus 9. So if I'm at 12 on the number line and I'm moving in the left direction 9 units, that's going to bring me down to a positive 3. In my next example, you can see that I have a negative negative. Combine those negatives or attach them and make it a plus. So really the question is 13 plus 5, which is much easier, giving us 18. All right, this is one of my favorite ones. It's the one where you have a negative number and you're subtracting a number. So what it's going to lead to is a more negative number. In our case, we have -11 minus 7. So if I'm at -11 and I subtract or I go to the left 7 units, that's going to lead me all the way down to -18. All right, in this next one, I have another negative negative. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the negatives, make it a positive. And now I'm going to do the problem -10 plus 14. And when I do that, that's going to lead me to 4. 16 minus 20. So if I start at positive 16 and I subtract 20, if I'm at 16 on my number line and I move down to my reference point of 0, that's 16 spaces. How many more spaces do I have left? Well, I only have -4 spaces, so that's going to be my answer. And the last one, -6 minus -13. That's really saying -6 plus 13, because I attach them and make it a positive, leading me to positive 7. Okay, now that we've practiced some integer subtraction, let's go ahead and try some application problems, or I like to call these real-world application problems. These are situations where you can actually see integers occurring in the real world. So number 1 states, find the difference between an elevation of 535 feet above sea level and an elevation of 8 feet below sea level. You might be thinking, well, I would love to draw a picture here to figure out what am I actually being asked. And that's a great idea. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little picture. Now, my picture might not be the greatest, so please forgive me. Let's go ahead and say that this is our mountain, and let's say that this is our sea level. And the highest elevation, it says, is 535 feet above sea level. We're going to say that that's up here, 535 feet. And then it says there's an elevation of 8 feet below sea level. So that's going to be down here, -8 feet. And what I want to know, the question being asked is, find the difference between them. Well, the word difference means subtraction. So we're going to be finding the difference between these two numbers. We always find the difference by taking the highest number minus the lowest number. So the highest number in our case is 535 feet. We're going to subtract our lowest number, which is -8. Here you can see what it generated. It generated one of those negative rules. When you subtract a negative, it becomes a positive. So I'm going to go ahead and attach them and make it a positive. So really, this subtraction problem really became an addition problem, leading me to 543 feet. So the answer is, it says find the difference between the elevation. Well, the difference is going to be 543 feet. All right, the second question. The temperature at 6 a.m. was negative 12 degrees Fahrenheit. At 3 p.m., the temperature was 32 degrees Fahrenheit. What was the change in temperature? Again, I'm going to go ahead and draw a little visual. You don't have to do this, but sometimes it can be helpful. Now, when I think of temperature, I think of a thermometer. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a little thermometer, and I'm just going to indicate it by a vertical number line, where 0 is right in the center. Now, if the temperature at 6 a.m. was negative 12, I'm going to go ahead and put that on my thermometer. I'm going to put it down here as negative 12. And at 3 p.m., the temperature was 32 degrees. So I have negative 12 at 3, and then I have, negative 12 at 6 a.m., and then at 3 p.m. it was 32. So I'm going to put that up here. So I want to know, what was the change in temperatures? Well, a change means the difference, or subtraction. So I'm going to go ahead and take my highest minus my lowest. So I'm going to say 32 degrees Fahrenheit minus my lowest temperature of negative 12 is going to leave me with a total of 44 degrees. And I got 44 because I have a minus minus here, which is going to turn into a plus. So it's going to have a difference of 44 degrees Fahrenheit. Alrighty, a submarine was situated 450 feet below sea level. If it descends 300 feet, what's the new position? So I have to draw my sea level. Here's my sea level. And I have a submarine. Here's my best submarine. Sorry about that. This is situated 450 feet below sea level. You can see that I indicated below by my negative symbol. All right, it descends. So if it's situated 450 below sea level and it descends means you're going to be going downward, or you're going to be moving in the negative direction. That means we're going to be subtracting. So this submarine is moving down 300 feet. And we want to know, well, where did it end up? So let's go ahead and figure out the problem. I'm already beginning at negative 50 feet below the surface of the water, and I'm descending 300 feet. So I'm subtracting 300. That's going to leave me at negative 750 feet below sea level. Now, we don't want to actually say, oh, we're negative 750 feet below. All we really need to say is we are 750 feet below sea level. If you say negative 750 feet below sea level, it's kind of like a double negative, and you don't really want to indicate it that way. Okay, I have one more problem for you, and this problem gives you a picture. So let's go ahead and read the statement. When Brooke buys lunch at the cafeteria, money is withdrawn from her lunch account. The table shows amounts withdrawn in 1 week. By how much did the amount in Brooke's lunch account change by the end of that week? So this is actually a real life situation, and it works just like your lunch account works. So let's see here. It looks like Brooke starts with $28. On Monday, she buys a pizza lunch. So what we want to do is take our 28 and we want to subtract 4. If we take 28 and subtract 4, that's going to leave us with $24 left. That's her balance. That's what we call it. Then she has $24, but on Tuesday she spends 6 of it. So I'm going to go ahead and say 24 minus 6. That's going to leave me with $18. Then she has $18 left, and on Wednesday she spends $2 on a spaghetti lunch. Spaghetti seems like it's a pretty cheap lunch. That's going to leave me with $16. Then on Thursday she's going to spend $3. So if we subtract the $3 from that, that's going to leave me with $13. And then on the last day, she has $13 to spend, and she spends $5 on a chicken lunch. So she subtracts 5 from that 13, leaving her with $8. So at the end of the week, she has $8 left. So really at this point, you're finished with that problem. We were just doing the subtraction with the integers as we went. If we think about the question here, though, by how much did the amount in Brooke's lunch account change by the end of the week? Well, really what we want to do is we want to take that high number that she started with and subtract what she ended up with on Friday, which gives us a $20 difference. So that's just the way that a real-life application of subtraction of integers actually occurs, is in the cafeteria. All right, that brings us to the end of our lesson on integer subtraction.